Привет всем, с вами я, Дженни, и это College Russian. Сегодня снова со мной мой дорогой студент. Он сегодня очень волнуется о нашей теме, да, потому что это очень трудная тема. This is very, very intense grammar. This is grammar you probably won't ever even learn until third or fourth year of college. And even then, you still may not know how to form these, but they are important for knowing, for being able to read Russian literature. So we're going to be, I'll be taking some examples from literature, or not even just Russian literature, but just, newspapers and that kind of thing. So whereas you don't need to necessarily create these in everyday speech, you do need to be able to make sense of them when you see them. And so Eli has a distinct memory that these kinds of things were on that grammar test that you needed to take. Is that, you remember this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to break it down. This, again, for you lovers of fancy Russian, for those people who love to just dive into newspapers and think that you'll just figure it out, even if you've never been to a Russian class in your life, like, okay, well, you're going to like this because this is the kind of speech that happens in newspapers and literature. So, of course, as always, we'll look at them first in context. And then we're going to break it down. We've got to do in order to understand these, we've got to do a huge review of aspect. Okay. So let's just talk about what are Деепричастия. In Russian, they're called Деепричастия. In English, this translates as verbal adverbs. And it's like something, and in English, they usually translate as ing if they're in the present tense. And if they're in the past tense, they translate as having blanked, having done that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so first and foremost, let's just look at them in context, because I always love to start with perceiving first, because people are smarter than they get themselves credit for. So just start by perceiving this whole thing. So let's read some of these funny little memes. So это книга. What's this book? Как перевести название этой книги на английский?
Ну, как стать миллионером, ничего не делая. So how to become a millionaire without doing anything.
So here's our Деепричастия. There's our verbal adjective. And that comes from the verb. Which verb does that come from?
Делать.
Делать, очень хорошо. And that's going to translate into English with an ing. ing. And remembering back to verbal aspect, what aspect does ing need?
Несовершенный вид.
Молодец. Imperfective. Okay. So how to become a millionaire while doing nothing. Ничего не делая. Doing nothing. Okay. Let's look over here. Бедный солдат. Бедный английский солдат.
Почему человек не может спать стоя?
Стоя.
Стоя. So, why can't a person sleep standing up?
Standing. And you hear that ing again, right? Yeah. Ing. So, and that comes from what verb?
Стоять.
Стоять.
Стоять. To stand.
Стоять. And we're going to talk, if you're interested to know how to form these, you'll be very fancy if you start including these in your speech. But it's more just a matter of recognizing them when you see them and understanding them. There are, however, some Деепричастия that get used in everyday speech, such as this phrase. So what is the кошка saying?
Честно говоря, я в шоке. Honestly speaking, I'm in shock.
So we might say to tell the truth, or it literally means honestly speaking, and it comes from what verb?
Говорить.
Говорить. Честно говоря. And I will give you a list of these kinds of Деепричастия that people actually use in spoken speech.
Yeah, that'd be
Other
huge.
than that, other than that, it's really just a matter of understanding it when you see it. Okay, хорошо. Now this one, we're getting into past tense ones. And you and I were both joking that neither of us have read Lord of the Rings. So if viewers can help us out why this is funny, please do, because I've never read the book. So Gandalf.
Узнав, кто кольцо.
Что?
Что кольцо Фродо, это то самое кольцо всевластия.
I don't know, maybe like the all-powerful. I don't know.
Oh, всевластия, okay.
I don't know Lord of the Rings. Okay, so what just happened? Gandalf.
So that must mean like knowing. Uznав.
Having found out.
Uznav. So having
in
found
English,
out that the ring of Frodo
is actually the same ring as the ring of the all-powerful.
There's the all-powerful ring.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was the only person in the world that hadn't read Lord of the Rings. Apparently
No,
not.
I haven't even seen the movies. I feel bad. People I get made fun of all the time, but Frodo having found out.
And this comes from what verb?
Uznat.
Uznat. And uznat is совершенный или несовершенный?
Совершенный. Uznat.
Совершенный. So having successfully got this information, having completed this action, he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
and then down here, Frodo.
For understanding that, Panyat, I'm assuming
Panyav,
so having understood that, his life became 100% more difficult. 1,000%.
His life is going to get 1,000% more difficult. So Frodo, having realized Panyav. So what aspect are you noticing in these past one? Having blanked, having finished this action, we're getting what aspect?
So it's definitely perfective.
Perfective, right? Because you've completed it and now there's going to be some response. Okay, so now we need to talk about Деепричастия versus причастия. Okay, so when we're doing these in grammar, and this exam that we're going to do, this practice one, it's going to assume you don't know the difference and it's going to try and trick you, but you're smarter than that. So, Деепричастия, a verbal adverb, affects verbs. Okay, it affects verbs. Okay. So, for example, I'm going to do my different keyboard. Переходя улицу, машина... Нет. Он упал, например. Okay? So how would you translate that?
While crossing the street, he fell.
Good. What is this describing? Is it this describing the person who is crossing the street?
Yes.
No, where's the person who is the person that was crossing the street? We don't have any information about him.
Oh, I just assumed like the Onupal. So like the...
No, it's giving us a little bit extra information about the falling down. Well, see how it's giving us a little bit extra information about the verb. That's why it's called a verbal adverb. It complements the verb. It gives us more details about the other verbs. Okay. So переходя улицу, он упал. Okay. Versus водитель увидел переходящего дорогу мужчину. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you translate that one?
So the driver saw the crossing the street man.
The crossing the street man. That's beautiful English. I hope our Russian people aren't learning English from you.
How would you?
So in English, again, that's why Russian's cool, right? Because they just encompassed all in one single word. Something that we had to try and use a bunch of different words for. So the driver saw the guy that was crossing the street.
There we go.
So переходящего is giving us more information about what?
The man who's crossing the street.
The person who. So it behaves like an adjective because it's describing somebody or something. Whereas this, it's giving us more information about the upal. Okay. And that's going to come in handy when we come over to this test today. And they're going to be trying to throw you off by putting things in here like переводивший, переводящий. If it's not talking, if it's just giving you more information about the verbs that were going on in the background, then we don't need these adjectives because we're not talking about the person. We're not talking about the thing. Okay. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. Okay. So before we get into anything else, I told you we've got a brutal review of verbal aspect coming our way. So again, because to create the past tense verbal adverbs, we need to know the perfective. So let's remember the perfective of all of these.
Yeah, let's remember those. Видеть would be like увидеть.
Молодец, очень хорошо. Увидел. Or увидит. Так, очень хорошо. Следующий.
Прочитать. Прочитать.
Прочитать. Очень хорошо. So that's going to come in handy with a phrase like прочитав книгу, он захотел стать
Having read the book.
миллионером. Так,
he
очень
became-
хорошо.
yeah.
Прочитать. Следующий.
Понимать.
We just saw this with Фродов.
Понять.
Понять. Ага, очень хорошо.
Забыть.
Забыть. Так. Oh, we've got читать again. Okay. Let's do принимать.
Принять.
Принять. Так, очень хорошо. Over here, знать. We just saw this one with
Узнать.
Gandalf.
Yeah,
Узнать. See, I mean, and some people will argue that this isn't, in fact, the perfective of знать, that знать doesn't have a perfective, and that's fine. That's fine. But when we're talking about verbal adverbs, we usually do узнать. Узнав. Узнав новости об аварии. Так. Улыбаться.
I'm going to say улыбиться.
Улыбнуться.
Улыбнуться.
Ага, улыбнуться.
Улыбнуться.
Okay. Переводить. Let's think back to those carrying.
Yeah, перенести.
Перевести.
Перевести.
Перевести. Так.
Вставать, стать.
Молодец. Встать. Так. Изучать. This one's tricky. You don't hear it very often.
Yeah, изучать. I don't know what that one is. Изучать.
Изучить.
Изучить.
So having learned all of the details of blah, blah, blah about the laws on such and such, изучив все законы. Так. Возвращаться. You actually say the perfective of this more often than you say the imperfective. Most people don't realize.
Возвращается.
Нет. Вернуться.
Oh, вернуться. Oh, hot dog. Oh my goodness. Возвращаться.
Different ones. Yep. Вернуться. Okay. So as I promised, and notice my beautiful literature background in the background, and it's because we're going to read some poetry. Okay.
Oh, yay.
So I'm going to read it to you real quick in English. This is from the poet Bloch, Alexander Bloch, and this poem is about death. Okay. And it's going to be a horrible translation, just FYI. Предчувствую тебя. I can feel you, like I feel you coming. Годы проходят мимо, the years are passing by. Все в облаке одном предчувствую тебя. Everything in just one countenance, I feel. Весь горизонт, the whole horizon is on fire and bright and unbearable. И молча, и жду, тоскую и любя. Look at our молча. Where does that come from, do you think?
Молчит.
Молчать, молчит. Тоскуя.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is a fancy one. Longing for. It comes from, we'll go down to it. So right there. Любя, that's a pretty easy one to recognize.
Yeah, любит.
And then silently waiting, longing for and loving your brutal, you harshly awakened suspicion, having changed in the end your usual characteristics. Oh, how I fall sorrowfully and lowly, not having overcome my death dreams. And you won't be surprised to learn that this guy did kill himself. So, Okay. So having changed, not having overcome. Okay. So let's see if we can identify the original verbs on this. So тоскуе comes from тосковать.
Okay.
So following the same pattern, how would you say feeling sick? I don't like to work out feeling sick.
Тоскует.
Well, no, тосковать is a different one, but we are going to go from чувствовать. Follow what тосковать did.
Чувствует? Like,
Чувствуя.
Oh, чувствуя.
Чувствуя себя плохо, я не люблю. Очень хорошо. Любя came from?
Любит.
Любит. Super easy. Сменив. These ones are super easy to reconstruct. Because you're just going to put a te mякий знак back on.
Yeah, so сменить.
Change out to swap, kind of. Одолеть. Super easy to figure out the original of that.
Да, одолеть.
Одолеть. And the imperfective was одолевать, to overcome something. So not having overcome. Okay. So this is the kind of thing you see all over in literature, all over. Yep. Okay. So for those of you who want to be fancy and you want to try and form this is what you do for the present tense. You conjugate it. You take the ani conjugation. You delete off the ani conjugation, and then put a ya back on. Любить, они любят, любя.
Любя. Говорит, говорят,
Они говорят,
говорят.
говоря. Да, очень хорошо. If it's reflexive, then you got to put a s мягкий знак back on the end. Okay, so for example, возвращаясь домой. So back to this verb. Возвращаются, we take off the ют, put in яс. Возвращаясь.
Возвращаясь.
Okay. So how try saying while exercising.
So it'd be занимаюсь. Занимаясь. So yeah, so занимаясь.
Занимаются они, да, занимаясь спортом, ты будешь чувствовать себя сильнее. Вот. Так, очень хорошо. Okay, so now what we're just going to do is just start practicing seeing these in context. Again, I want to emphasize you can be perfectly fluent in Russian and not ever have to use these in everyday speech. Unless you are a yoga instructor and you need to say something like gibaya, like, you know what I mean? Like, whilst exhaling, like you don't need to talk like that. So it's only really important to understand them. Okay, so start reading these off for me.
Как житель
Воронежа
практически ничего не зная о Таджикистане, стал петь на таджикском языке. So зная obviously is one. Воронежа.
Nope. It's only не зная.
Yeah, so I'm just saying like that's a
Воронеж
city, right?
is a city in Russia.
Yeah, okay. So зная, I mean like knowing.
Не зная.
Oh,
Ничего не знаю. Ничего не знаю о Таджикистане.
Not knowing anything about Tajikistan, she continued to sing in...
Стал петь на таджикском языке.
Yeah.
Okay, now the big thing you're going to need to know for your grammar test is how to rephrase this in Russian. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
Хотя этот житель Воронежа не знал ничего о Таджикистане, он стал петь на таджикском языке.
So you're essentially just taking the two sentences and you're breaking them out.
Or несмотря на то, что он ничего не знал о Таджикистане. So that's proof to you how you can get by without these in everyday speech. You really can work around them. Okay? So, хотя, несмотря на то, что он не знал ничего. So that's what I want you to start practicing is how to rephrase it, because that's what you're going to be seeing on your test. Okay, следующий.
4 ошибки, которые вы совершаете, занимаясь спортом. So it's 4 mistakes that you're making while exercising.
Молодец, очень хорошо. Okay, теперь иными словами, in other words.
4 ошибки вы обычно...
No, all you got to do is change this second half out.
Oh, so you'd say 4 ошибки.
All we're changing is this half of the sentence. So we still say 4 ошибки, которые вы совершаете.
Пока занимаетесь.
Пока вы занимаетесь спортом. Или когда вы занимаетесь спортом. Oh my gosh, you were still equally fluent and you just avoided these super fancy words. That's all you're doing. Okay, следующий.
Что можно узнать о человеке, глядя на его лицо? In other words, what can you find out about a person just looking at their face?
So, иными словами?
Что можно узнать о человеке, когда глядит на его лицо?
Да, когда ты глядишь на его лицо. Когда вы глядите на его... Или... да, вот так. And I want to point out over here, why didn't I use смотря? What does смотря mean in Russian? Смотря на ситуацию, or несмотря на ситуации.
That's more of like inanimate, right?
It's not that it's inanimate. Over time it's come to mean considering that.
Oh, okay.
Or regardless of the fact that it's come to take a more bookish feel rather than the literal looking at something. Same thing with хотя. What does хотя mean? That's a great word in Russian.
Otherwise.
Otherwise, or although.
Although.
And over time, that has come to only mean although, and now instead we say желая. So read this next one for me.
Желая стать инвестором, житель Альметьевска стал жертвой обмана. So like wanting to become an investor, the resident of Almetyevsk became жертвой. I don't know that.
We saw that on our level up your vocabulary, on our death and suffering vocab. Victim.
A victim, жертва. Жертва is a victim of obman.
Like a scam kind of thing.
Очень хорошо.
Okay, иными словами. Now they're words.
For the first one or the second one?
The second one, желая.
So, желая стать инвестором, житель Альметьевского стал... I don't know, I would just say like житель Альметьевского, который хотел желать стать инвестором, но стал жертвой обмана.
Все, очень хорошо. Okay, вот. Okay, and then there's two interesting ones here that you didn't even know exist in the Russian language. Okay, шкаф был.
Шкаф был очень высокий, даже Володя, будучи самым высоким в нашей семье, не доставал до верхней полки.
Так. So what do you think that means? Шкаф был очень высокий, даже Володя, будучи самым высоким в нашей семье, не мог даже коснуться.
Yes. So like the cabinet is so tall that even Volodya, who is the tallest in our family,
being the tallest.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Isn't that a crazy word? It doesn't look like anything. It's so weird. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, yeah, being the tallest in our family, не доставал до верхней полки.
Yeah. So this is an example where you do the ani conjugation, but a ya doesn't work.
That makes a lot of sense though. Like I know I've seen that before, but I've never connected it with the participle before.
Yeah, you probably saw it in the Bible a lot.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Nephi, having been blah blah, like yep. Okay. Бывая долгое время в Москве. So I want you to compare these two. This one is like being a type of person, being something as a person, versus бывая being somewhere. Okay. So tell me this one.
Бывая долгое время в Москве, я быстро привык к холоду. So like having spent a long time in Moscow, I quickly became used to the cold.
Yeah, living for a long time in Moscow, because we still want to keep that ing, because we're not emphasizing the result of it.
Yeah.
Living for a long time in Moscow, I quickly became used.
Could you say the same thing about živaya, or is that kind of weird to say like that?
Yeah, that is one that doesn't work as well. There are some of these, and you'll learn them as you go, that they don't have a great Деепричастия.
So just say бывая долгое время в Москве.
Да, очень хорошо.
Yeah, hold on, can I just clarify something real quick? Because
Yes.
it says бывая. So you know that it's talking about a woman, right? Because of the ending aya.
No.
Okay,
you're getting these confused with причастия, which are adjectives.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm with you.
And next time when we do that next lesson, I'll teach you how to memorize when you're looking at a причастие, when you're looking at a adjective.
So we're that's right. We're still defining verbs. We're still.
Yep, this is all just verb. We're not gonna even touch anything about adjectives today.
Okay.
Okay. Вот. Следующий. Okay, this is again I've got Gogol, so from Russian literature. You don't know a lot of this. You're not going to know. Много раз дрогался он потом на веку своем. So, and many times throughout his life, he would shudder. Look at this.
Видя.
Видит. From видит.
So it's like looking как много...
Seeing. And then this next line is just so beautiful.
Как много в человеке бесчеловечия. Like, how many times a person is without a person?
Бесчеловечие is like humanlessness, like cruelty. You're not even a human,
Yeah.
So it's about a guy named Akaky Akakievich. People tease him, they bully him. And so in his life, on many occasions, видя, как много в человеке бесчеловечия, every time he would see this, he would feel that kind of thing. So again, it's just fun little things from Russian literature. So now let's talk about ones that you've probably said in your life, or you've probably heard them. For example, говоря.
Yeah.
Короче говоря, было трудно. Да?
Честно
Короче
говоря,
это полный капец. Вот это деепричастие. Да?
Yeah.
Okay. Следующий, честно говоря, you probably said that.
Yeah, all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about this one? Судя по.
It's like according to.
According to.
It comes out of the word
judging
судить.
by.
Yeah.
Очень хорошо. And you do say that one. Ну смотри, судя по твоему лицу сейчас, тебе не нравится. Вот,
Yeah.
Right? And you do say that. And that comes from судить. Начиная с.
Like beginning with.
Хорошо. Начиная с следующего понедельника мы больше не будем говорить о деепричастиях. Хорошо? Так, считая, что я не носитель русского языка, для меня это очень трудно.
Considering, but it comes out of like считать though. Yeah, so
exactly. So considering that this isn't your native language, молодец. You know what I mean? Считая. And then this one you probably heard in the metro. Выходя из вагона, не забывайте свои вещи.
Oh my gosh, so many times.
So what are they saying?
Like exiting.
While exiting
the stunts or whatever, like don't forget your stuff.
Yep, exactly. So while you're getting out, don't remember, because you're going to find out here, we don't want to say выйдя из вагона. If you've already выйдя from the вагона, you're already out and it's too late. You forgot so выходя, while you're getting ready.
Yeah.
Okay, очень хорошо. So now let's do the past tenses. These are pretty straightforward because it's really easy to guess what was the original, except for there's going to be some weird stuff with the T, verbs ending in T, like пойти, перейти, вести. And then their reflexives are kind of weird too. So all you do, take off the final T mякий знак, replace with a V. That's it. Yeah?
Okay.
Tricky when we get to the T mякий or TE, and we will go over that. We have a whole section dedicated to it. And then if it's reflective, we put the V, and then we put back on a шись. Okay, so let's go back to our having returned from, and I want you to try it. So we're going to take off all of this. Okay, so we take off all of this. Take it off.
So yeah, you just go to верну. So
Vu, and then plus
вернувшься.
Шись.
Шись. Oh my goodness. Вернувшись.
And that's important because вернувшийся turns into an adjective.
Oh, that's right. Okay, вернувшись.
So, вернувшись домой, он сразу побежал на кухню и пожрал все, right? So having returned home, he ran onto the kitchen and started stuffing his face with something. Okay, so let's practice that in context. And by the way, these are less common. You really don't see these in spoken speech, hardly at all. Okay? Вот. Первый. Президент вышел.
Президент вышел, не ответив на вопросы журналистов. То есть, the president arrived and...
Нет, вышел. Exited.
Oh, exited, sorry. The president left and did not answer the questions of the journalists.
Having not answered. Yeah, having not answered. And what was our original of that?
Ответить.
Ответить. And that's perfective or imperfective?
That's perfective.
Perfective. He didn't do it. He did not successfully do it, and he just left, right? So all of these are all going to be perfective. Having blanked successfully, so on and so forth. Okay, следующий. Подождав
друга еще несколько минут, я понял, что у него возникли какие-то проблемы.
Подождав. Just put it, just reconstruct it.
So it's подождать, right? Is the verb there? So like waiting for a friend, having waited for a friend for several minutes, he understood that that he must have some sort of problem.
He must have had some sort of problems. Подождать. And by the way, I don't have it in here specifically, but if you would say like while waiting for your train or something, it's a weird one. It goes to ожидая. Ожидая ребенка. They don't have ождя. They don't have ождя. That doesn't exist. So we have ожидая while waiting, or you can do подождав, having waited.
Подождав.
Так, очень хорошо. Следующий.
Подождав. Ожидая. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize these split slides there. Изучив все нюансы деепричастий, вы сможете читать русскую литературу. So, having successfully learned all these nuances of adverbs, verbal adverbs, you can now read Russian literature.
Очень хорошо. Молодец. Okay, but we're not done yet. It's not quite that simple. So now we got to do these brutal. Where am I? We got to do these super brutal verbs of prefixed verbs of motion. So now you see why we were going in the order we were going of I made you first learn the verbs of motion, and then I made you learn the prefixed verbs of motion. So it's milk before meat. Как говорится. Так, okay, хорошо. So give me, and maybe this isn't fresh on your mind. What's the perfective of ходить? All of these are going to have t on the ends.
Yeah, вести.
Nope.
Войти.
Okay, down here.
Выходить.
Выйти. Так. Okay, this is where we get into вез. Or the perfectives.
Вывозить. Вывести.
Вывести. Очень хорошо.
Уходить. Уйти.
Очень хорошо. Следующий.
Уносить.
Nope. Carry. What's unidirectional carry?
I don't. Унести.
Унести. Очень хорошо.
Проезжать.
Проехать. Okay, so I lied. They don't all have T on the end. Так.
Переходить. Перейти. Не находить. Найти.
Очень хорошо.
Проходить. Пройти.
Молодец.
Наносить.
Look at what we did with уносить. It's going to be the same concept.
Yeah, so нанести.
Очень хорошо. And we didn't talk about this one, but this one means to like apply something, like нанести ресницы, like put on eyelashes or туши. Yeah, нанести. Okay?
Увести.
Очень хорошо. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I'm such a stinker. I'm going to change it. We're going to change this to переводить. I don't even have any. Okay, переводить. No, to translate.
Перевести. Перевести. My goodness.
Перевести. Okay, you ready to have your mind blown?
Yeah.
These ones over here, they do, when they go into a verbal adverb, when they're like, while entering, we're going to go ходя. Not too crazy. However, when we get over here, it's going to be crazy. Войдя. Isn't that brutal? So this means while entering, and this one means having entered.
Why?
I don't know. You got to complain to the manager of the Russian language.
Войдя.
Войдя.
So like same thing. Выходя, войдя.
Выйдя,
oh my gosh.
Exited. And this is why you can cause yourself so much confusion. If you were reading instructions and it tells you to выйдя, metro, and you're thinking, oh, I'm supposed to do this while I'm exiting. I'm supposed to see some sign while I'm exiting. No. You're out on the street by this time. Yep, exactly.
You should already be there.
Yeah, so you see how this, you got to know this.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Okay, same thing down here. Вывезя. Okay. Уйдя, having left. Унеся, having carried away.
Man.
Okay. Although down here on проехать, it's проехав. That one's not too bad. But let's talk about what is this one? How do we make this in while passing? While passing. It's not irregular.
Проезжая.
Проезжая. Молодец. Очень хорошо. So come over here. Перейдя, найдя, пройдя. How about this one?
Нанести.
Look over here.
Нанеся.
Нанеся. How about this one? Carry away.
Увезти. Увезя.
Увезя. And then this one's going to be crazy. Watch this. Переводя. And over here, it's going to be so similar. Переведя. Okay, keep that in mind. It's going to come in handy on the test. Вот. Okay. Какой вариант? So which one of these works in the context? Either переходя, while crossing, or перейдя, having crossed. Okay. Если something дорогу уронил что-то из рук, не нужно пытаться вернуться и забрать эту вещь.
Well, okay. No, okay, so can I tell you my thought process and then you can just correct me and tell me why I'm wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that it's a call like перейдя, like having already gone through it. Уронил то, что из рук. Не нужно пытаться вернуться. Like you don't have to return if you've already gone forward.
But right? What we care about here is this word, the dropping. At what point in this verb, the dropping happened at a very particular moment. So we care about the verb that was happening.
I get what you're saying. So it is переходя. So
переходя. If you're walking across the street, that's always my fear as a mom, right? Like one of my kids is going to drop their toy on a busy street.
Yeah.
Mom, I dropped my toy, right? Переходя дорогу. So see how this is giving us extra information about the dropping something from your hands.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So that makes way more sense while you're crossing the street, something telling you.
Yep. Yeah. There's nothing describing a person. There's nothing describing the street. It's all giving us extra information about the verb.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this one? Улицу, something street, Tverskaya. You turn right.
I would have said it's перейдя, having already gone through or having already crossed the street Tverskaya. Now you turn right.
Because what happens if переходя улицу Тверскую? What are you doing if you переходя улицу Тверскую?
Yeah, while you're in the middle of the crossing, just turn right, just hard right, just floor it.
Okay, see, so these matter. These do matter. Yeah. Okay, хорошо. Следующий. Возя или везя?
Okay.
So временно, temporarily, something в нашу страну автомобиль, не резидент, может пользоваться им 2 месяца.
So временно.
So the car is already there.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that it's возя, the first one.
It's already there. It has arrived.
Oh.
You have already done it. You have already brought your car into our country, and now you can use it for 2 months.
Oh, везя. Okay, I get what you're saying now.
Having brought your car.
To your country, yeah, use it for 2 months. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Versus some sort of accident that happened while you were transporting your car.
Yeah.
But having already done it, now this is what you're looking at. Okay? Хорошо. Следующий. Увозя or увезя. So either carrying away or having carried away. And this one's a little tricky. Okay. But I want you to pay special attention to this verb.
Украинский бегут из страны с собой семьи, налоги и мозги. So
how do we translate this verb? It's going to help you.
I'm assuming that the Ukrainians are running.
Are running, ing.
Yeah, so it's currently happening. So it'd be увозя.
Увозя. Carrying away with them.
Yeah, while they are running, they're carrying with
their
them
taxes
their families
and their brains.
Yeah.
Так. Очень хорошо. Okay. Теперь давай сделаем тест. Okay, this is brutal. This is going to be the иными словами, rewording this.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Вот, okay, момент истины. Вот, okay. So read these off for me, and then you're choosing between. And I really want you to understand, what does it mean if we say до анализа, во время анализа, при анализе, and so on. So really make sure you understand what you're looking at.
Проанализировав первые результаты, ученые решили продолжать эксперименты. So, according to like their results or whatever,
having what? If we see a av, eve, whatever on the end,
they've already successfully
having
analyzed the first results. The studiers, the scholars already decided to continue with the experiment. So
okay. So what works over here? До анализа первых результатов?
No, that does not work because they've already done it. So во время,
уже сделано.
That's not done either. Во время, it's not during the во время. При анализе, no, so it'd definitely be после анализа.
Молодец. После того, как они проанализировали. Да, после. Очень хорошо, молодец. Кстати, смотри, это второй уровень.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get too excited. I just got one right. So.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, this is это сложное дело.
I went through those and it was devastating because they're so close. You know what I'm saying? That's the tricky part, is you're like one off or ya off or whatever it is. And so,
okay, how about this one?
So that's while studying. Изучая теорию, думаете о возможности ее применения. Применение. So, когда изучаете теорию. So it's not anything past tense because it's currently studying. So anything that's past tense are out. So it's going to be арга. So then it's когда изучите. No, it's когда изучаете теорию. So it's good again.
Да, молодец. Очень хорошо. Встав пораньше.
Stop. So this is already stopped and it's already done. It's been so встав пораньше, ты сможешь окончить рисунок при дневном студенте.
So take a minute and make sure you understand this in English. Having woken up a little earlier,
you can like accomplish закончить like рисунок.
Like you can finish your drawing or something, your painting in
the morning light.
In the morning light. Очень хорошо.
So, так как встанешь пораньше.
Since you will wake up earlier.
No. Когда встанешь пораньше. Если, I would say хотя встанешь.
No, хотя would mean although you
waking up earlier.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yesly makes the most sense to me. Yes, like if you woke up earlier, then you would be able to do it
exactly.
In the light.
That's what they're saying. Hey, if you would wake up earlier, you could do this in the light. Okay, следующий, аспирант.
Аспирант, зная о сложности темы, решил все-таки продолжать работу. So the aspirant, what is an aspirant?
Like a PhD student.
So knowing of the difficulty of the topic, he decided to nevertheless keep going with work.
Молодец. Okay, now come over here and see what options you got.
Okay, so несмотря на то, что знал о сложности темы. So the doctorate student, despite knowing about the difficulty of the topic,
все-таки продолжал.
That one seems good, but I'm going to go through the rest just in case.
Yeah, молодец, очень хорошо. Since he knew all the conflicts. No. Yeah, he didn't decide to continue just simply because he knew all the. Yep.
And then когда знал, it wasn't once he like, no.
And который doesn't work. Why? And they're going to start throwing you off. They're going to start throwing in the которis, because the который you're going to see with the adjective versions, the adjective participles.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing them with those. So yeah, if you see a который and we're.
But also, it's not even like in complete sentence either. Like.
Yeah.
Аспирант, который знал.
Exactly.
So it's definitely A on that one, несмотря на то, что знал сложности темы, да? Okay.
Несмотря. Так, Андрей.
Андрей только один раз посмотрел в словарь, когда переводил статью.
So this one's going backwards.
So Andre one time looked at the dictionary while translating.
ING. I heard an ING in there.
While
translating.
While translating the stat.
Uh-huh. So
while translating, it's going to have to be didnt. Oh, this is where it's so tricky.
Let's go back to our chart.
Yeah, we're going to name
right here. Which one's perfective? Which one's imperfective?
Первости is perfective. Перводит is imperfective.
Okay. And we had an ing happening right here. Переводил.
Yeah. So you know it's going to be imperfective. So it's it's definitely not the she see because it's not she, right?
Exactly. So we got to get good at realizing this is an adjective describing a person.
Yes. And so
we don't care about Andre here. We care about когда переводил.
So it's going to be переводя, but it's going to have to be spelled correctly, and it's going to have to be переводя. Переводя статью.
Переводя. You had it right. Переводя статью. Переводя. Вот, очень хорошо. Because переведя would mean having translated the article, then it doesn't make any sense. Then he only looked at this. Why would you look at the dictionary after you've already translated the article? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, хорошо. Если знать биографию поэта,
so if you know the biography of the poet, можно глубже понять смысл его. Then you'd better understand like the thoughts of
the meaning of
the verses.
Молодец.
So знающие.
So which ones over here can we immediately eliminate?
We can definitely eliminate узнавшие и знающие.
Good, because they're adjectives. We don't want anything that looks like an adjective.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. So now we're choosing between these two.
Зная и узнав. Well, I'm just зная because it's если знат.
Да, очень хорошо.
Because then узнав would be perfective. Совершенно верно, and it's not because.
Очень хорошо. These are good strategies that you're coming up with. Молодец. Ребенок заплакал.
Так как испугался.
So.
Испугался, is it like spooked him or something?
He got scared.
Yeah.
So since he got scared, he started crying.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So what can we eliminate over here? These are trickier to notice.
Yeah, they definitely
are. On the end of them.
Yeah, but it's all of them except for "b" can be eliminated.
No.
Dang.
Because we've got a past tense happening here, a past perfective happening here.
Заплакал так как испугался.
What happened? Think about it. You have a kid, they get scared, and there's like a moment of shock, and then they start crying.
It's испугавшись.
Испугавшись. Having just gotten scared.
I was just thinking that it was the yas because I was looking at the shisia and I was like, oh no, that's like the adjective.
No, that's why I wanted you to come to this one. Because look at what shows you that this is an adjective are these two letters two-letter combination. Two-letter combination. We don't have a two-letter combination here.
No, so that's still definitely just like describing the verb. And that's but it's the correct verb because it's испугавшись.
Испугавшись. And that's why we really got to remember that this is a past perfective.
But you'll notice all adjectives, not all adjectives, but if it is an adjective, it'll have the i, right? You'll be able to see the difference between the two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you start putting them into cases, not so much, but there will still be that signature adjective ending. That signature, maybe it's the signature genitive. Yep, the signature genitive adjective ending. You will find in the word that there is some sort of adjective, and that will tell you I'm describing a thing or a person, not a verb. Not the situation surrounding a verb. Okay? Хорошо. После того, как прочитаете книгу, I see a perfective over here.
После того, как прочитаете книгу, подумайте, что хотел сказать автор. So, after the fact that you've like finished the book, that you've read the book to its entirety, then you think about what the author wanted to say. So then it's probably not читая, it's not читающие, because those are несовершенный вид, and it has to be совершенный вид because it's прочитав. Прочитав книгу, because via is the adjective form of it. So it's прочитав книгу.
Yep, that's not necessarily the adjective. That's a present tense.
No.
It's okay though, but there's none in here. But do you see the adjective form right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Ольга произносила эти слова с улыбкой. С улыбкой.
С улыбкой.
Okay, so let's go through and start eliminating. Look for our ones that look like adjective.
So v looks like adjective because it's the улыбающаяся. And then that one as well, g also looks that way as well because it's the So it's gonna be arb, and then it's
okay. So key to knowing which between this is we look at which aspect this one is.
Произносил. So that would be that's совершенный вид.
Nope, we see a носит.
Oh, so it's несовершенный вид. It's imperfect.
Несовершенный. And then we go back to our chart. If we don't remember which one of these is perfective or imperfective.
Улыбаться is imperfective. So then it's улыбаясь, which is a.
Улыбаясь.
Yeah.
Она сказала это улыбаясь. Да. Очень хорошо. Молодец. Okay, so good. That's it. And now just to lighten the mood, we're going to go back and do some идиомы. Okay?
Идиомы.
Хорошо. Как? Что ты думаешь? Что значит не зная броду, не суйся в воду?
Воду is hell, isn't it?
No, you're thinking воду, like that means in hell. Вода.
Oh, вода. So not knowing броду, what's борода? What's broda?
In this case, it would mean like the path.
Oh, not knowing the path?
Yeah.
Suícia.
Like don't put yourself in.
The water?
To the water. Or yeah, I can't remember what broda means. Actually, maybe it's not the path. Maybe it has something to do with like the depth, or I can't remember. Something to do with the water. But yeah, so if you don't know, shoot, I know this.
Like if you don't know how deep it is, don't jump in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in English, we would say, look before you leap.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Не знай броду, не суйся в воду. Okay. If this is something you probably don't want to do, особенно в профессиональной сфере, не надо уходить, сжигая мосты.
That's most is like a bridge, right?
Сжигая.
Сжигая, like a flaming bridge?
They have this in English.
Oh, Ring of Fire.
Нет. Он уходил, сжигая мосты. Теперь все люди ненавидят его, потому что он обидел вот этого, вот этого человека. He burned all the bridges. Yeah.
So then how would that translate? Like, don't leave?
Burning bridges. You're leaving while burning bridges as you go. So you can't go back, right? Because as you're leaving, you're burning that bridge, and then you leave, and then you burn that bridge. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Так. Okay. Поспешай, не торопясь.
That means like don't worry, right?
No. Торопиться means to be in a hurry.
Oh, поспешай, не торопясь. Поспешат? What is поспешат?
It kind of means to hurry a little as well. They both sound like to hurry.
Be quick, but don't hurry?
Kind of. Yeah, kind of. I'm trying to think. What is our exact version of this in English? I can't remember.
No, I get what you're saying, though.
Но когда они говорят, но не надо торопиться, надо сначала думать, потом медленно идти, потом проверять, потом...
Торопясь. Okay, I get it.
So haste makes waste, right?
Oh, okay.
So like slow and steady wins the race.
Oh, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Так, so hurry, not hurrying kind of thing. Or, yeah, etc. Okay, then we covered this one before, but now you can really understand it more. Ушел по-английски, не попрощавшись. Попрощаться значит сказать пока.
Oh, okay. So like, I get what you're saying. So he left like an American and didn't say goodbye.
Or we call it an Irish goodbye. So yeah, when somebody уходит по-английски, it means он не попрощавшись.
Не
Он просто...
попрощавшись.
So he didn't say goodbye.
Попрощавшись, yeah.
Так, okay, any last questions?
No, I feel like that was a lot more clear. Now I bet it's gonna be confusing than when we introduce the
Причастия, which are the
Причастия.
participles.
Yes.
I believe in you. I think you can do it. When you get good at identifying what's what, and I'll make a lovely chart for it and everything, I think you'll do a good job.
So when you're talking, let's say you're talking like нашего or like вашего, that's an adverb description, right? And then an adjective description would just be like хорошего or like великого. Does that make sense?
No. So an adverb is something that tells you how you do a verb. Он быстро ел. Он быстро поел. How did he есть? Быстро. Yeah. Okay.
And then an adjective is describing a noun, which makes sense. But
yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is like мой or like твой or ваш or like.
Those are possessives.
So do possessives ever change when it comes to причастие?
No.
They never do.
No.
Okay. For some reason, I thought maybe they took the form of it, but I think what I saw was like a avol, but it was like a husher rule or something like that.
Yeah. No.
That's what it was. It definitely was that. That's what it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll talk about that next lesson. And yeah, so we don't need to be so intimidated by this.
Yeah. That was super helpful. Yeah.
Так, окей, хорошо, это все. Спасибо, пожелайте или удачи, потому что, наверное, это будет на его экзамене. Это довольно тяжелая тема. Хорошо, это все. До свидания. Увидимся на следующей неделе. Пока.
Пока.